Coming up, recent events lead to a debated issue. And later, get ready for some summer fun in Iowa City.
A different Hawkeye squad is rowing their way into the top 20.
The heat is turning up for finals week.
This is DITV News at 8:30. Good morning, happy Cinco de Mayo, and thank you for tuning in live to DITV and KRUI 89.7 FM. I'm Abigail Curtin. The First Amendment has been a long debated issue, especially with recent speakers on campus and student rights protesters. DITV News reporter David Consuelos has more on the issue.
On April 19th, the Young Americans for Freedom chapter at the University of Iowa invited Matt Walsh to speak.
I'm not possessive of this ground, though. I invite anyone and everyone else to speak up also. I will gladly move to the side and make room for anyone who wants to join the fight against this madness.
As a result of the lecture, many students called out Matt Walsh and protested him as fears of transphobia and sexism felt embedded throughout his lecture. These protests raised the question of the First Amendment and how freedom of speech can be distinguished with hate speech.
It's his right to do it. You know, we live in a free country and we have free speech, but I do think that the response to his type of thought is also warranted, but it's also, I don't think it's the right way to go about it.
University of Iowa President Barbara Wilson sat down with the DI to talk about her take on the First Amendment and the recent Matt Walsh event.
So there will always be a natural tension between the First Amendment and students' sense of what's right and wrong and their personal sense of safety. It means that there will be times when people say things that will be hurtful and will be stressful and sometimes will be hateful.
Iowa students are currently required to take a First Amendment training course. However, the results of the course are still yet to be evaluated. From the University of Iowa, David Consuelos, DITV.
Earlier this semester, the University of Iowa announced that they would be selling Mayflower Residence Hall. President Barbara Wilson additionally noted that the sale will become public soon. Mayflower Residence Hall could close as early as the spring 2024 semester.
It turns out that Mayflower is the last choice for students in terms of residence, and when we look at the data, students who are in Mayflower, particularly first-year students, have lower GPAs and slightly lower retention rates in Mayflower. And part of it, we think, is it's not a great place for first-year students.
Another decider for Wilson and the university to sell the building includes the state of its maintenance and the high costs to fix up the place. The university has plans to build a brand new residence hall that will be closer to campus and dining halls. Now, there's been some severe weather in Iowa lately. Let's check in with DITV Sports Director Michael Merrick, who is live outside in Iowa City, but has more on recent events.
Thanks, Abigail. You said it. I'm outside the IMU right now live, and as you can see, the Iowa River is contained right now, unlike the Mississippi River is in the Quad Cities and especially in Davenport. I'm a Quad City local, and we've seen a lot of flood through the years, but we haven't seen anything like this in a long, long time. Currently, Davenport is waiting for the floodwaters to go down before they could take any precautions into preventing future flooding, but the Mississippi River Flood Resiliency Plan was approved back in 2021, and if fully implemented, it will see the city build new flood barriers that will protect the town for their 9-mile riverfront up to 22 feet. And, you know, as you guys can see, it's a beautiful day and summer is almost here. And what else is here is the Iowa City Farmers Market, and DITV News Director Ashley Wheel is live out there for more.
Thanks, Michael. That's right. I'm here in front of the Chauncey Swan parking ramp, where currently it's filled with cars, but tomorrow it will be filled with vendors. This is where the annual Iowa City's Farmers Market takes place every year, and tomorrow it's starting up at 7:30 a.m. This will be its 51st season, and this year the market is adding 20 new booths as well as adding games and activities for kids and people of all ages. Iowa City's recreation program supervisor, Michelle Weigand, said, quote, "Everything sold at the market is made by, grown by, or produced by vendors themselves. We do not allow resale at the market because we really believe in supporting local entrepreneurs," end quote. Not only does this market include produce, but they also host crafters and musicians and artisans. And so there's really anything for everyone. This weekend, they will also be starting music that will be longer than usual, with having it run from 9 a.m. to noon rather than just 11 as it has been in previous years. A big focus for this market this year is to be culturally and economically inclusive while also providing safe and nourishing foods for all of their customers. The market will be open every single Saturday, whether it's rain or shine, because it's here in this nice little parking ramp. And so be sure to check it out. But for now, let's send it back to you in the studio, Abigail.
Thanks, Ashley. And May is Jewish American Heritage Month, a month to celebrate Americans with Jewish heritage. Ari Ariel is the Associate Professor of Instruction in History and International Studies at the University of Iowa, and Professor Ariel has Jewish heritage and thinks the month is a good way to bring awareness to the Jewish community.
So maybe it's a good month to kind of remind us and remind people more broadly about Jewish presence and Jewish contributions to American history and culture.
And with a rise in anti-Semitism and racism throughout the United States, Professor Ariel believes months celebrating diverse communities can bring big change.
A kind of story that, if we tell properly, highlights not just the Jewish experience, but the connection between different minority communities and communities with different experiences. So I think it can be really valuable.
The month is also a celebration of Jewish Americans who came to America and their contributions to our country. Now let's send it back out to Michael, who's got the weekend forecast and weather to expect during finals week.
Thanks, Abigail. I'm still here outside the IMU by the Iowa River, and it's a beautiful day so far today. We are finally going to see some nice weather in Iowa City, it looks like, after having a few false springs and a lot of false hope so far. Looking at today and tomorrow's temperatures, we are going to see today stay around 75 degrees with lows getting in town to 55 tonight. There's also a slight chance of rain throughout the weekend, including tomorrow, where temps should be around 79 degrees. And despite turning up the heat to about 90 degrees on Sunday, it won't be the Sunday fun day that everyone hopes for, as there are high probabilities for storms. Moving into next week, the Monday blues will be real, as we will see the storms continue, but the temps will be nice, with a high in the 80s and lows in the mid-50s. Then for the rest of the week, we will see a lot of clouds in the skies, but temps will be staying fairly consistent, with highs being in the mid to low 80s and lows being in the mid-50s. Hopefully the sun will continue to shine bright on everyone today and throughout the rest of summer, but especially me, because I'm very pale and I do not want to stay like this for the rest of the year. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Michael. I hope your tan works out. And speaking of the warmer weather fast approaching, the Iowa City Downtown District is getting set to host a number of events to keep citizens entertained this summer.
Yeah, so summertime in Iowa City is always a special time downtown. There's always tons of activities and programming going on for the community to enjoy. We're bringing back a lot of our favorite events that you all know and love so much.
A wide variety of events will take place, which include but aren't limited to a downtown block party, and even pro wrestling is on the ticket for this year's schedule.
Yeah, I mean, the block party is always one of my most favorite events, just because it's so unique and that we have all these activities that you don't typically get to see in the streets. So like I said, the pro wrestling, last year was the first time we brought that, and this year we're bringing it back, and it sounds like they're maybe bringing like 20 to 30 performers, and that always gets the crowd going. But
more information about the events listed and more can be found at downtowniowacity.com/events. And beyond downtown, the arts and culture side of Iowa City will also be celebrating with more events with the Summer of the Arts festivities. From movie series to new fine art festivals, there'll be a wide array of events to mark on your calendar.
New for this year is, first of all, a couple of big celebrations. It's the 40th anniversary of the Iowa Arts Festival. And it's the 30th anniversary of the Friday Night Concert Series. We have over 100 fine artists at the Friday Night Concert Series. It's actually been expanded to 18 weeks that will be on the downtown Ped Mall starting on May 12th. So coming up very soon.
Visit summerofthearts.org for more information regarding these festivities. And Iowa City is having a book repair workshop on May 23rd. People can bring damaged books and get them fixed up. Participants will learn the names of different parts of books, how to assess basic damage, and even how to reattach loose pages, and more. The event is hosted by Iowa City Landfill Recycling and will be run by the director of the Antelope Lending Library. It'll take place at the East Side Recycling Center. The workshop is free to attend, but registration is required and there is limited space, so get your tickets soon. Now we have Max live outside the Iowa Memorial Union, and I hear there's lots to look forward to during finals week. Max, what can students expect to see?
That's right, Abigail. I'm right outside of the IMU, right to my right. And with the IMU, they are holding special events that students can go to when they are feeling the most stressed out during finals week. And they're aimed to benefit students through the stressful times as they wrap up their semester.
Mainly, our goal is to help create a space and some activities for students to be able to take a break from their studies and relax and enjoy some free food and, you know, just get their mind off of their finals.
Among the events included are the long-running Pancake Man. No, I'm not talking about myself, but a pancake breakfast on Monday morning, multiple therapy dog sessions throughout the week, and complimentary food trucks to kick it off, all on Sunday night. Besides the event, the IMU wants to stress to their students that this is not the only opportunity around throughout the whole entire semester or the school year, and that there's many other events that happen throughout the school year for students to come and participate in, including cab events, study spots, and food locations for students. Scheduling and opportunities for this special finals experience can be found for students at the finals@imu.com website on the Iowa University website. Back to you in the studio, Abigail.
Thanks, Max. And the undergraduate student government is partnering with Ottoman Concierge Services to make the move-out process a little less stressful for Hawkeyes. USG will provide shuttle rides for students from campus to the Eastern Iowa Airport in Cedar Rapids, starting today and going until Monday, May 15th. Students can request to be picked up from any campus location or even their own home. Each ride costs $10 and must be booked on the USG website at least 48 hours in advance.
I mean, I think it's unreasonable asking every student to try to get a Lyft or, you know, a Uber to the airport, which is sometimes like a $30 Uber.
And for students who will be moving into a new place this upcoming school year, USG will also work to provide lease gap housing during the last few weeks of July. Students will be able to stay in the Iowa House Hotel for a discounted rate between the time their old lease ends and their new lease begins. Now let's send it over to sports with Julia Richards.
Iowa rowing team has been on an absolute tear this season, and they're on their way to one of the best finishes the program has seen in a while. DITV sports reporter AJ Reister has more on their incredible season.
The Hawkeye rowing team is coming off of one of their best performances of the year after their varsity 4 boat defeated number 13 ranked SMU over the weekend. The race perfectly captured how this season has gone for the Hawkeyes up to this point.
I think this is like our breakthrough year, like making the ranks, and like we're really like seeing ourselves take steps every day. Like we said earlier, we don't really get time on the water, so when we do, it's like massive changes are made.
And, you know, being able to be ranked for the first time in 2 years means a lot to them. It means that people are noticing what they're doing. It means that the world of college rowing understands that we have a team here in Iowa that's pretty competitive. So I think that's one goal that we've hit already.
The Hawks are now preparing for the Big Ten Championships next weekend, where they hope to finish the highest they have in years.
Big Tens is, in my opinion, the most competitive rowing conference in America.
This is going to be like our biggest challenge of the year. We're up against Ohio State, Michigan, Rutgers, Indiana, all are ranked ahead of us right now.
We don't have to look very far when we go to Indianapolis to see who our competition is with trying to get a bid for the NCAA championship.
We kind of have nothing to lose, and one of our biggest goals is to get to the NCAAs. So I think everyone like cohesively trusts each other, that we're all like in it to go to the NCAAs.
Not only has this been a historic year for the Iowa rowing team, but it has also been a year of growth for the sport.
It would be great to see it start to grow in the state of Iowa off the success of these young women. Hopefully they can get a little notoriety, a little publicity, and hopefully, the next great Hawkeye rower sitting out there waiting to come to Iowa and row.
From the Iowa River, AJ Reister, DITV Sports.
Thanks, AJ. And the Hawkeye football team landed a big-time transfer just in time for student tickets to go on sale. Caleb Brown will be packing his bags and headed to the University of Iowa after his time at The Ohio State University. Brown didn't do much as a Buckeye, but coming out of high school, he was the #2 ranked player in the entire state of Illinois and was ranked #7 overall wide receiver in his class, making him the highest rated wide receiver Iowa has ever landed. And for students looking to purchase tickets, they'll have to set aside some funds, as the season pass will cost $175 for the entire season, with home games including matchups against Purdue, Illinois, Minnesota, and a few others. And the Iowa baseball team hosts Ohio State for their return series home this weekend. The Hawkeyes are coming in after splitting with Penn State last weekend and avenging their loss to Illinois State by beating them 7-4 Tuesday. Ohio State comes in only winning 2 of their last 8, trying to get over that late season hump. The first game takes place today at 6:05 p.m. and a fireworks show follows after. And if you attend extra early, you can be one of the first 100 people to receive a free bucket hat. Game 2 takes place at 1 p.m. on Saturday, celebrating 50 years of women's athletics at the University of Iowa. And finally, Game 3's theme on Sunday is Run Day, capping off the series at 1 p.m. And after the Iowa softball team couldn't win the in-state matchup on Wednesday against the Northern Iowa Panthers, the Hawks had a great night pitching, but Panthers would have a 4-run inning in the top of the 4th. This was the last game home of the season at Bob Pearl softball field for the Hawks, as the Hawkeyes are on the road this week to face the Badgers of Wisconsin tonight at 6:30 p.m. following a weekend full of games on Saturday and Sunday, both at 1 p.m. And for the 12th consecutive year, the NCAA's academic progress rate, otherwise known as APR, showed that for the 2021-2022 academic year, all 21 University of Iowa sports programs were well above the 930 rate threshold. The 930 threshold signifies a red flag with respect to academic progress. Leading the way for the Hawkeyes, women's basketball, men's cross country, women's cross country, field hockey, men's golf, gymnastics, swimming and diving, tennis, women's track and field, and volleyball, that was quite a mouthful, all achieved and scored a perfect single-year score of 1,000. The Division I single-year APR score across all Hawkeye programs was 987, which also scored above the 985 needed to meet the academic benchmark listed by the NCAA. Whether it be women's basketball making it all the way to the national championship this past year, or Hawkeye football setting new records in the latest NFL draft, one thing that's for sure is that Hawkeyes are continuing to shine in and away from their sports. And with the year coming to a close, let's take a look at some of the best moments in Iowa athletics this school year. In the fall, the Iowa football team struggled offensively, but had one of the most dominant defenses in the country and capped off the 2022 year with a Music City Bowl victory over Kentucky down in Nashville. And the winner had tons of great stories. From the men's basketball team, historic come-from-behind win over Michigan State to Spencer Lee's return, and of course, the Iowa women's basketball team advancing to the national championship after one of the most historic seasons that made women's basketball one of the most watched collegiate sports. This winter was one of the greatest in recent memory for Iowa City. And this spring, we have already seen some amazing feats. The Iowa track and field team continues to break school records. The softball team walked off conference foe Maryland, and the Iowa baseball team took down the #1 ranked team in the nation, LSU, on their way to their best start in program history. This sports season has had so many amazing memories and historic accomplishments, and it is certainly a year Hawkeye fans will not forget. We will see you in the fall with more on Hawkeye sports. Now I'll send it out to Michael, who has some advice for upcoming finals.
Thanks, Julia. You know, this shot's so good, we had to show it more than twice. And I'm really enjoying this weather out here, and that's what all these students need to do to help reduce some stress and anxiety during finals week. According to the American Heart Association, time outside, fresh air, and sunlight all reduce stress and anxiety. And the UI also has many resources to support student success, and particularly heading into finals week. You can see an overview of these resources on Tuesday TutorIowa.com, where they have videos with a variety of academic tips and academic support options if you're feeling overwhelmed or if you just need a hand. So for one last time, we will go back to you in the studio, Abigail.
Thanks, Michael. And the Indianapolis Zoo is sponsoring animal conservation. The zoo is offering a $1 million grant to a group that can develop and carry out a plan with a sustainable impact on the future of a species. Field conservations around the world have been invited to apply, and the species they pick must be critically endangered, or vulnerable in the wild. A panel of international animal conservation experts will choose a winner in February, and the winner will then have 5 years to implement their plan. And in some personal news, this is DITV's last show of the semester. DITV will be back in August, however, some of us will be graduating next week. Myself, Julia Richards, Wyatt Johnson, and Ali Yokimishin will be graduating. We also have Daily Iowan executive editor Hannah Pinsky, who is also graduating as well, in the newsroom with more on what to expect as the DI wraps up our content.
Thanks, Abigail. The Daily Iowan will be releasing its final print edition this Wednesday, and it's a special edition for graduation that's coming up next weekend. This year's print edition for graduation will include profiles on student athletes, students who are graduating from the fine arts, as well as our senior columns from both DITV staffers and DI print staffers who will be graduating this year as well. Be sure to check it out on the stands as well as online. Back to you, Abigail.
Thanks, Hannah. And I just wanted to take some time to say that this is my last show ever at DITV. I've been here for the past 3 years, and it's truly been a home to me and all the other seniors. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of the DITV staff. I love you all so much. I'm so sad to go. So for the final time, thank you for tuning into DITV News and listening to KRUI 89.7 FM. DITV will continue back in August, but until then, you can check out more of our content on thedailyiowan.com/DITV. For DITV News, I'm Abigail Curtin. Have a great day and a wonderful summer.